Welcome back to SnowRunner, guys, and today we're going to be having a look at the GWC R-Chart. Now, this is a new rig by Glitchworks, and I'm really excited to take a little bit of a deeper look at it because as Glitchworks puts out more and more mods, they definitely improve in terms of drivability, handling, suspension flexibility, and all of that good stuff, and this one has been designed to be a scout that can be easily inserted into a modded campaign playthrough, and not necessarily throw off the balance too much, but at the same time, if you want to go fairly crazy with it in the build, you can do that as well. Now, like I said before, it is very obviously based on a Ramcharger, and Ramcharger fans are going to be really excited about running this in their campaign, I think. So let's go ahead and fire it up, get it into the garage, and see what it's all about. It's got a pretty nice startup sound, honestly. Like, I really dig the way it sounds when it starts up. Interior's pretty cool as well. Actually, I was checking to see if the gauges work. The gauges don't move, but you know what? I mean, moving gauges, for some people, that's a big part of the immersion factor, and for other people, it's not that big of an immersion factor, but I've got to tell you, in terms of, like, Glitchworks' own modding journey, like, oh, wait, actually, yo, the gauges do work. Oh my god, I misspoke on that one. The gauges do work. Oh, that's sick. Actually, that's amazing. This is one of his coolest looking interiors he's done so far. The gauges do work. That is so cool. I can't believe I didn't even realize that at first. That's amazing. All right, so let's go into the customization right off the bat. Now, the first engine on the list is the 340 small block. Now, the 340 small block is going to give you an A power to weight rating. So, not bad at all. Definitely more within that sort of like vanilla game balance space. But then you get the 440 big block, which gives you an S plus power to weight rating already. And then the 426 elephant. Now, this one also gives you an S plus power to weight rating, and it's really not that much of an upgrade in terms of price over the last one, but it should be a pretty big upgrade in power. So let's go for that and see what it's all about. Now, gearbox-wise, you have 5-speed default, 6-speed highway, and 4-speed off-road. Very, very, once again, very, very original game focused. Like, that is a very, like, standard selection of gearboxes. But to be honest, that selection works really well for this game. At the end of the day, I think that's one of those gearbox setups that, like, you don't really need much more than that unless you're building a truck that's like super multi-function. So we're going to start with the 4-speed off-road box and then go with the 6-speed highway when we go to do the bridge jump a little bit later on in the test. Now, suspension-wise, we have normal ride height, lifted, and then monster truck. So we'll try out the monster truck lift in a little while, but I think I'm going to go with the standard lift for now. And that's apparently supposed to be a 12-inch lift, which is huge, absolutely massive. Now, tires-wise, you'll start out on a set of 31s, and then you can go up to 36s. That's a pretty big difference. Like, 31 to 36 is a big size bump in tires. Now, I do like a lot of the tires that he has on offer here, and I think that they're all going to suit their own roles very, very nicely. I do like these GWC all-terrains, but I also like the mud terrains a lot. I think the mud terrains look really, really good. These all-terrains, though, are like really, really wide, like super wide. Then when you get into the mud tire compounds, you've got a lot of familiar and basically similar compounds that you've seen on Glitchworks' previous mods, but with each mod that he makes, a lot of the tires end up fitting better, looking better, and really at the end of the day, he just keeps improving his quality as time goes on. Now, obviously, these require the monster suspension to be installed, so we're not going to do those just yet, but don't worry, we'll be using dev tools to install those a little bit later on. And for those of you that like to use these rigs in like an icy or snowy environment, the chain tires are right there for you. So we're going to leave the GWC all-terrains on in 43-inch size, and we're going to go with the Stage 4 winch. Now, you can actually throw a set of rear seats in there, too, if you'd like. And let's see, lights-wise, oh, that's cool. Glitchworks Customs light bar, repair supplies in the back. You got 2 spare wheels, 43 units of fuel. We've got, let's see, we could take the roof off. That's so cool. I'm definitely going to be taking the roof off for this test. I think that looks so good. Now, rear bumper, let's see, factory, steel, tube, or trail conqueror, which comes with another 43 units of fuel and another spare tire. That's really cool. Stock roll bar or full roll cage, oh, I'll definitely be swapping out for that. Now, front bumper wise, we have bumper 1, tubular bumper, heavy steel bumper, and deep woods bumper with a winch. Love that. That's definitely getting installed. Now, stock tailgate, yo, we can actually take the tailgate off. Bro, that's amazing. And you can actually leave the rack on there without the tailgate having to be there. So if you want just that extra quick access, you can absolutely have it. But I think for this build, I'm going to leave the tailgate on. Now, the snorkel is definitely going to go on. We want that and we need it. I mean, well, I go back and forth on whether or not we fully need it, but I dig it either way. Now, let's see. We've got a pretty good selection of wheels here. The GWC Machete wheels look really good. Some old school style AR-26s and AR-62s. We've got the GWC beadlocks, the mag slots, the Steerleys, the mil-spec wheels, the GWC process, and the GWC mode. I like the GWC mode a lot. And the process definitely looks like it's kind of based on either a Method Racing wheel or maybe a KMC wheel. I'm kind of going back and forth between what that looks like. I know I've said in the past that it looks more like a Method wheel, but when I see it here, it kind of, I don't know, my brain goes back and forth on whether or not it's been inspired by a Method Racing wheel or a KMC wheel. But either way, let me know what you think it is in the comments down below. Now, colors-wise, the stock gray does look really good, but oh, dude, these color options are awesome. I really like the red with the white stripe. I like the blue with the black stripe. I really like all of these different color combinations. They all look really, really good. And I haven't even scrolled through all of them. Yo, that one actually has kind of a little bit of a weathered look to it as well. I really, really dig these color choices. These color choices are absolutely on point. I mean, they really are just absolutely on point. Unfortunately, it seems as though you can't put beans on the dash, but maybe you'll be able to later on down the road. Now let's fire this thing up and see what it does. It's definitely got some more torque than it had before, that is for sure. Hey, actually, the lights up top light up too. That's really nice. I'm actually going to back up into the trailer store for a second and see. Okay, so your standard assortment of Scout flatbeds. I'm digging that. So if you want to do a little bit of light hauling with this thing, you're more than free to do that. There's that working speedometer just going to town. Whoa! It actually, like, even with the off-road gearbox, it started to get sideways with the torque on pavement. Like, that's pretty impressive. Let's see how it does when we just absolutely just blast it through this river. It's pretty good, especially for the fact that we're on some all-terrain tires. Not bad at all. Now, I love vehicles like this. I love these, like, old-school, full-size SUVs. It was really a different time for SUVs because I feel like, you know, what we see as an SUV now versus what an SUV might have been, you know, in this thing's day are two very, very, very different things. You know, an SUV at that point, you know, meant solid axles front and rear. In a lot of scenarios, it meant a full-size truck frame. And I think that, you know, now when we think SUVs, we think crossovers. And something like that, something like literally like that right there, to imagine the fact that that's what an SUV was is like crazy when you think about, you know, how an SUV usually kind of, you know, makes you think of a crossover at this day and age. But let's see what it does up this wall. Dude, high range with the off-road box works great. That works amazingly well. Let's see how the rock grip is. I'm sure the rock grip is probably going to be pretty good. Glitch usually does a good job of implementing rock grip into his tires, but let's see how this one reacts when we get it into a little bit more of a crawly situation. Man, that torque really does work really well. Even when you're in low plus, I mean, the torque translates to a lot of crawlability. Come on. Come on. Find your grip. There we go. Not bad. A little bit of rocker damage, but nothing we can't just buff out or hammer out or however you want to go about it. God, it's such a good-looking truck, too. Like, and I've got to admit, it looks so much better when it's built than it does when it's stock. Some rigs have this ability to look really, really good stock and really, really good built. And I think, obviously, you know, the rigs that you think that applies to is going to be different for everybody because that's a personal taste thing. But at the end of the day, I think this thing definitely, at least for me, from my standpoint, from my point of view, it looks so much better when it's fully built than it does when it's stock. So let's see how it does. Actually, you know what? Before we dive into the mud on those all-terrains, hang on. Yeah, we're going to go ahead and throw some, let's see. All right, where are these? There we go. Throw some full-on mud tires on it, like some tractor tire styles. And let's see what kind of wheels we can run. Those don't really fit very well. I'm trying to find wheels that fit this pretty nicely. Those fitted okay. All right, let's see what you can do in some proper mud with some proper mud tires. Now, I haven't switched out the gearboxes yet, and I'm not going to do that until I've got a pretty good understanding of the way this does in mud. Shallow mud and high is a breeze. Let's see how it does in the first mud lane. It's wheeling. It wheelied all the way through that. Okay. Whoa, jeez. That's pretty impressive, especially, like, when you consider the fact that that's way more impressive than I thought it was going to be. That's way more over the top than I thought it was going to be. That, at the end of the day, I am genuinely blown away by the fact that was, like, the outcome. What the heck? That was wild. No, I do want to see what it looks like in monster spec, so let's go ahead and throw those on it, and there we go. I'm feeling it. I'm honestly, like, I'm really liking the way this looks in monster spec, and if you wanted to run it around as a full-on, like, monster rig, you totally could. Now, I'm sure it's gonna obliterate the dips obstacle in terms of, like, you know, in terms of actual capability with the monster suspension and the monster tires, but it's almost comedic in a way to watch it just bounce its way through these. I mean, you really don't have to angle at all because your tires are just gonna bump into the ground before your bumper does. I mean, and at the end of the day, it really is just gonna walk over everything you put in its path with these tires on it, but we're going to actually leave these tires on it for the bridge jump. We're gonna go into the garage, the mobile garage, thank you DevTools. We're gonna refresh that, and now we've got our 6-speed highway transmission, and of course, we've got our top spec engine. So let's make our way out to the bridge jump and see what this thing is all about when you send it down the hill at max speed. And I'm gonna hope that it's willing to shift into 6th gear. It may be willing, it may not be willing, we'll see. It's just wide enough that it kind of goes across that hole. I mean, one of the rear tires dipped into it a little bit, but it's fine. Not gonna worry about it. Don't worry about it. Come on, come on. Whoa, that was actually really well controlled. Like, it rotated nicely on the pavement, and it was easy to catch that little slide. No issues at all, actually, catching that slide. All right, 5th gear. 5th gear. 5th gear, come on. We're 6th. Come on. There's 6th. Sender. Oh! Ow. Well, you know, at the end of the day, for that to have been only, like, the cause of half the suspension damage, that's a pretty solid truck. That's a pretty solid freaking truck right there. If all that caused was, like, half suspension damage, yeah, I'm down for that. That's a really strong setup. Now, granted, obviously, all the suspension angles are super stretched with the monster suspension, and it's a little bit cartoony, but I feel like at the end of the day, if you're going for the monster suspension, you probably don't really care if it's a little bit cartoony because it just makes it fun, you know? It's just there to, like, to play around with and mess with and have a good time. But if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to let me know your thoughts and opinions on this rig in the comments down below. Hit that like button if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you guys next time.